welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, February 8th, 2019. I am Yvette Boynes with the details. There are a lot of new and exciting things for Vincentians in this year's budget, so said Minister of Finance Camilla Gonzalez as he wrapped up debate on the 2019 budget in Parliament last evening. Earlier this week, opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday said the 2019 budget does not have anything new for Vincentians, describing it as merely old wine in new bottles and lacking substance. Responding to the opposition leader's statement, the finance minister took the opportunity last evening to highlight some of the new initiatives in the 2019 budget.
We retain and we build upon. But he said there's nothing new. I don't know if a medicinal cannabis industry is new or old. I don't know if new hotels being built in Peter's Hope and Mount Wynn and Diamond are new or old. I don't know if the cargo port in Western Kingstown is new or old. I don't know if geothermal energy is new or old. I don't know if the call center being established is new or old. I don't know if the seafood packaging plant in Caliqua is new or old. I don't know if the most extensive repair program ever on secondary and village roads in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is new or old. I don't know if spending $6 million to repair our schools during this summer break is new or old. I don't know. But they sound good to me.
Speaking on the criticisms leveled by the opposition relating to the investment by the National Insurance Services, the NIS, in a local hotel development project, Minister Gonzalez said the NIS investments are managed properly and highlighted some of the other areas which the NIS has made solid investments both locally and regionally.
That is Governor Cleviston Haynes reporting on the state of the Barbados economy. Now, I think geographically, we're roughly in the same position. So, I'm not sure why success in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is dismissed as simply, storm man, you had nothing to do with it, storm. But the NIS invested in the Trump Ocean Club in Panama. I hope that that met with the approval of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition because it took place in Panama. And invested in the Simeon Hotel Fort de France in Martinique, our NIS. I hope that that is satisfactory. Also, given his fondness for St. Lucia, I would like him to know that they've purchased treasury bills, $6.9 million of treasury bills from the government of St. Lucia. So we're in St. Lucia, so I hope he's happy with that. The government has purchased bonds, the NIS has purchased bonds, U.S. corporate bonds in the United States, U.S. treasury bills. Those add up to about $4 million.
The finance minister also took the opportunity to rubbish claims which suggest that the boom in cruise ship arrivals is due to the damage in neighboring countries by several hurricanes.
Why success in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is dismissed as simply, storm man, you had nothing to do with it, storm. But next door, the cruise industry is declining, albeit modestly, and I wish the people in Barbados the best, and I wish their tourism industry the best. But to make these glib comments without any basis in fact is beneath this Honorable House. The Honorable Minister for Tourism indicated.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez said much work has been done to help foster the creation of a modern post-colonial economy here in SVG. In his contribution to the budget debate in Parliament yesterday, Prime Minister Gonzalez said the government has been implementing plans to foster a modern economy, which could be seen in areas such as agriculture. He highlighted the work being done in animal production, which he said is part of building a more resilient economy.
Supply of a liquid nitrogen plant. The objective here is to be self-sufficient in the production of liquid nitrogen, to facilitate the government effort for the livestock artificial insemination development and expansion program. This is completed already and is in operation. Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons why we had to do this, look, you know, in Grenada, they have what they have, Mr. Speaker. But I always tease Prime Minister Mitchell and tell him that Grenada has 2 lazy man crop, cocoa and nutmeg. Once they grow, you just pick them. They don't know how to dig Tanga Bank down there anymore. They don't know how to raise animals anymore. That's okay. We will and we will do the artificial insemination and make ourselves more resilient.
The Prime Minister said education has also seen much advancement, with the government looking to take the sector to the next level. He noted that the Technical Vocational Education Training Program, TVET, is important in building a modern economy, as well as the other programs being offered at the SVG Community College.
Of the technical areas which I've called out there, currently enrolled, of the 685 students who are there in that division, 239 or 35% of the students are in technical and vocational education. A lot of people don't know these things. And Mr. Speaker, in the tourism related areas, that is to say the culinary arts, hospitality studies and tourism studies, 207 or 30% of the students who are at the Technical and Vocational Education Division. Notice, Mr. Speaker, between those 2 areas, you have 65% of the students. You know why? They buy in to what the Prime Minister says, that we are building a modern, competitive, many-sided, post-colonial economy which is at once national, regional and global.
The Prime Minister also spoke on a new project this year, which he said will see a comprehensive repair of many educational institutions across the country.
And in addition to that, I personally, not sure a bureaucrat, I call the president of the CDB, tell him what we are doing there, but I say I have some schools which need far more substantive work. Grammar school, high school, a couple of others across the country, where you don't just do the repairs. Well, that will be done outside of that project. That's a separate program. And I said to the president, you have to send people right away to me. And they came. And a project is being worked out. I heard that the Minister of Education said 6 million there. But I've gotten them to go up to 10 million and maybe more. Because, so I want this school repairs to be done with the 6 million this year from
Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has left the state to attend the 7th World Government Summit in Dubai. His delegation includes his wife Eloise Gonsalves, Senator Deborah Charles, Cultural Ambassador Rondi Luther McIntosh, his Executive Secretary Angie Williams-Jackson, and his Security Officer, Station Sergeant Godwin Charles. The World Government Summit is a global platform dedicated to shaping the future of governments worldwide. Each year, the summit sets the agenda for the next generation of governments, focusing on how they can harness innovation and technology to solve universal challenges facing humanity. In Dubai, Prime Minister Gonsalves will be engaged in talks related to the socio-economic development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He and his delegation will return to the state on February 17, 2019. For traditional marijuana producers to be successful in the medical cannabis industry, the government must ensure that these farmers are adequately prepared to take advantage of all opportunities available and be able to produce quality products. So says Opposition Member of Parliament for North Leeward, Roland Patel Matthews, in his contribution to the budget debate in Parliament yesterday. Matthews said he believed that the medicinal cannabis industry will take off and bring benefits to the economy of SVG. However, more must be done to ensure that traditional marijuana farmers benefit from the industry.
Traditional ganja farmers are to get any major benefits, then we have to prepare them for it. We can't just talk about that and we're going to give them license. That's only one part of it. We have to prepare them, get them ready, show them the ropes of what to expect. Because we know when we look at videos, for example, on YouTube about medical marijuana, the persons who are taking care, they look like scientists. Just in their big coat and their gloves and things, because they are doing something for a medicinal purpose. So we have to fall in line. We have to set certain standards. And we talk about that in our debate and in our select committee meetings.
Matthews said the recreational cannabis underground industry has contributed tremendously to the economy of SVG and believes that a regularized recreational cannabis industry along with the medicinal cannabis industry will go well for SVG's development.
Medical marijuana industry and our recreational marijuana industry, what some of us call the underground economy, we can do good in both areas. The recreational marijuana industry that we had operating for over 50 years, as the underground economy, as some people wish to call it, have contributed, as I said before, immensely to our national development. Correct. Ask OTMs and those people who, during Christmas time, right? Those guys just come to Leeward to sell their furnishings. And Mr. Speaker, when you see you come in with a fella after a couple, maybe a few months to a year in the hills, you know, and he able to get a good sale for his product and get some money, he want to buy buying furniture, you know. He not buying one chase set on credit, you know. He buy the whole house. Yeah, man. It's the good old days, you know. And this contributes to the money circulates. It circulates in the economy.
The North Leeward MP also called on the government to examine ways to expunge records of those who were convicted for small amounts of marijuana.
And to show you good faith, we are not going to harass you. You know, Mr. Speaker, within the last month, the amount of young men pull out of vans coming from North Leeward. They feel bad about it.
I agree.
Even some of them who are out there in the green jersey, marching up and down, they regret the day they came. Yes, they regret, Mr. Speaker. They regret the day they came because they're saying, you know, we thought that, and if you listen to some of the videos, you could see that they were totally misinformed. So I hope, Mr. Speaker, that we will look seriously at expunging the records of some of the people who have been in prison for a small amount of marijuana.
After days of heated debate by members on the government and opposition bench, the $1 billion budget for 2019 was approved by Parliament last evening. Today, SVG-TV News took to the streets in downtown Kingstown to find out from the people their thoughts on the budget. There were mixed reactions from the persons we spoke to. However, most admitted to us that they did not listen to it.
See nothing good in the budget. So
$1 billion, wow. I hope some could check along to the man them pan the gong. You know, because that's what we need. We can't live so you have family and all them things to take care. The unemployment situation need to be arrested and locked up.
Nah, I really listen to the budget. Too much time on my budget.
Okay. Didn't hear anything. I don't have current, I just use candle, so I can't really watch the TV.
Them a talk about who done and who this, me not able with them. No miss, not budget.
I would want to see in the budget that the young children off the street, that they have a home for them and like more employments and so forth like that. I would like to see these things. Yeah, because enough building closed down and you can open up.
to see? Well, that's good things. That's the most I can say.
Like what?
Like the roads them need to be fixing, more walks.
My budget is in my pocket. When like a new water authority, that's my budget.
There is some benefit, but we still have to look at it and see how if it's going to be reality, so to speak. As you know, it's promises right now. So we got to just look and wait and look and see what's going to happen.
No, I did not. I did not listen to it.
Project just about the same, just something that keep repeating itself all the time. Many projects that proposed many years ago up to now haven't come to pass. So we need to see a more serious budget.
For those who listen, they tell us who was their favorite presenter on the budget and why.
All of them. I heard a bit of name yesterday. What the guy named there? And for now come his song good. Bruce Ezel, yeah, his song very good. I heard a bit of some Camilo. Song, you know, his song promising. I heard Likak, who was on fire.
If you have finished your education, you're going to make.
That's the best thing. And everybody started to tell everybody phone, eh? So everybody's getting the head out to it now.
Speaker, presenter.
Kim Bacchus.
Vincentians are being encouraged to continue to work along with the Vector Control Unit in the Ministry of Health to control mosquito breeding sites. The encouragement comes from Vector Control Officer Shamanti Laban, as members of the Vector Control Unit were out in the field yesterday conducting search operations and to destroy mosquito breeding sites. Laban said despite many challenges, the unit is dedicated to the task of protecting the public from dengue and other mosquito-borne diseases. The Vector Control Officer took the opportunity to highlight some of the work they have been carrying out nationwide.
The goal of finding these breeding sites is to eliminate them as far as possible. And if it's not possible to eliminate these breeding sites, then they would be treated with BTI, which is a biological control agent, which is usually carried around by the workers of the Vector Control Unit. Additionally, during this inspection, householders are educated on mosquitoes and their related diseases and ways in which they can identify breeding sites. Additionally, householders are given health educational materials as it relates to mosquitoes and their breeding sites. There's also a special inspection team, and this team is usually responsible for checking rivers and streams, any public drains in communities, which tends to pose a problem. And they would also treat these drains.
Laban said she is pleased that many Vincentians have been heeding their call to eradicate mosquito breeding sites and encourage those who are not yet on board to get on board.
Take up the initiative and try to keep their drums covered. I would commend them for that. Some persons, they do still have a challenge in their water containers and their water storage containers. So at times you might check them. Some of them might be actually open, they're not covered. Or some of them may actually be covered, but it's not covered properly, so then the mosquito can have access to this storage area. So at times this can pose a problem. Alright, so hence it's important for us to educate householders on the proper way in which drums should be covered. That we've seen, and I'd just like to encourage those persons who's taking the initiative, you know, to check around their homes and ensuring their drums are covered to continue doing this, and we appreciate the effort that you've been doing so far.
Another Vector Control Officer took the opportunity to illustrate to our news team the correct way one should cover water drums which attract mosquitoes.
To prevent mosquito breeding, right, this is how is the drum supposed to be kept, covered and sealed, tight above the top, so that the water doesn't settle, so that water can be settled on top, so that mosquito can breed on top as well, right? It's very tight, broad, this, good. So just to advise the public as well, whenever the drum is filled with water, what you can do is add a bottle, an empty bottle inside of the drum, so that the bottle can keep the cloth
It's in full, right?
The water can keep the car, up afloat, so the water will not settle on top.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines has emerged winners in the USAID OECS Right to Read competition in 2 categories. There were several other awardees who received prizes at a special prize-giving ceremony held at the French's House yesterday. Larissa Puggs-the-Kid tells us more in this report.
Anna Warrican is one of many budding writers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who was awarded for her fictional book, Molly Learns a Lesson. Warrican placed first in the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Right to Read competition, which was held in late 2017 when she was still attending the Kingstown Prep School. In the teachers category, Phyllis DeCosta also copped first place regionally. There were more than 10 other students from SVG who placed first to third in poetry, fiction and non-fiction. National focal point in the Early Learners Program's Marvis Joseph said SVG submitted 95 scripts which portrayed great writing skills.
There was a total of 29 poetry scripts, 38 scripts in the genre fiction, and 28 that were non-fiction. Some of the writers were described as having prolific writing and illustration skills.
Chief Education Officer Elizabeth Walker said that the Ministry of Education is aware of the challenges faced in literacy and welcomed the Write and Read initiative, as they also have their own local work plan for literacy in schools.
The program has addressed the issue of the use of Vincentian vernacular in the classrooms by seeking to develop an appropriate language policy in this regard.
The OCS has budgeted $8.9 million for literacy programs, of which SVG has benefited. Its representative, Cicera Simon, congratulated the Vincentian nationals who copped the regional prizes and noted that their work will be accessed online across all the OECS countries.
Writing that is culturally relevant, writing that would meet or interest children in that specific age range, kindergarten to grade 3. Today we are here to recognize those talents, those who have made an immense contribution to the repository of reading materials available in the region.
Meanwhile, Senior Education Officer for Primary Schools, Hannah Brown, who delivered the feature address, challenged the children, teachers and parents to continue to work hand in hand to ensure the country remains on top in literacy.
Effectively, to provide a context to help our children to read and write the standard English, to know our history and take pride in our ancestry.
The winners shared their work and experience with the Write and Read competition.
As we fight for a future with vengeance, I love you, St. Vincent. Words can't describe. St. Vincent, my homeland, you give me the vibes.
It also gave me a wonderful opportunity to release all these ideas that I have in my head.
Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
A literacy roadshow was held here today by the Early Learners Program ELP in collaboration with the OECS Secretariat. The Early Learners Program is being undertaken in 6 OECS countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The ELP is to improve the reading ability of children at the primary level so that they would develop a love for reading at an early age. Many primary school children, along with their teachers and parents, took part in today's roadshow as they marched on the streets of Kingstown to Heritage Square, where a rally was held. Addressing the gathering at Heritage Square, Senior Education Officer Elizabeth Walker said that the Early Learners Program has proven to be very successful.
What are the successes we have achieved so far with the ELP program? The ELP has served as an integrating force that brought together organizations and individuals together in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the region to put together plans to improve teaching and learning of reading and to execute these plans together. The Teachers College, which also assists, we have the Peace Corps, we have principal teachers, parents, and people of all walks of life which are joining together hand in hand to achieve this venture. The second success is the Early Learners Program has trained over 400 teachers from kindergarten to grade 3 to improve the quality of teaching by incorporating on a daily basis learner-centered approaches. The success number 3, under the Early Learners Program, all 71 primary schools from Fancy to Fitzhugh in the north to Mary Hutchison and Stephanie Brown Primary in the south were equipped with a multiplicity of learning resources for students and teachers.
Former Education Officer Gloria Williams advised the students to make good use of the opportunities under the Early Learners Program.
Good to see that literacy is on the go in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the fact is, when you read, you learn and you grow. This morning I was coming along the march, and while I was on back street, I heard a young man say, the young man, he was lifting a box and taking it into a business house. He told his co-workers, and this is upon hearing the chants of the students in the march, he said, you see, I always tell all you, if I been long for read, I would have done get further ahead. Now, this is what the Early Learners Program is trying to prevent. That someone later on in life would be able to say something like that, that there is an actually regret from attending school.